Hey guys, welcome to ASM Education. Hope you all are having a great day. This is the 12th chapter on of the book The Mackenzie Way. I hope you all have seen the previous videos. If not, then please just go and have a view. After watching those videos, you will be able to appreciate this chapter a bit more. So this chapter talks about managing internal communications at McKinsey. So the first thing that the author talks about is keep the information flowing. He says that information is to your team what gasoline is to a car's engine. If you choke off the flow, you will stall. So basically, what petrol is for a car is information for your team. He talks about the mushroom method of management, where you keep them in the dark, cover them with manure, and see what crops up. That is, you don't share information with your juniors. But he says that most people don't realize that mushroom method can operate in both directions. That is, it is possible to keep your boss in the dark too. So the author says that irrespective of the direction, the mushroom method is very unproductive. He says that for a successful team operation, you have to keep the information flowing. He he says that ensure that your team is up to date with at least the broad outlines of the project. By being in the loop, what you're doing is you're increasing their morale because they know how their work is contributing to the final goal. When people are alienated from the greater enterprise, their morale will suffer because they don't know how their work is helping the overall company. Also, if you keep your teammates up to date, they'll return the favor and they'll tell you what they are doing. So why is this important? Because your teammates will be working at the ground level and they will be closer to the events than you are. So good information flow can help you to spot emerging problems or opportunities. Also, the author says that you should keep your boss up to date. Don't think that if he is kept out to if he's kept out of the loop, it is better for you because he'll not be aware of the problems. But that is not good. If things are not under control, your boss should know what the exact problems are so that he can exercise his expertise effectively. Also, and if everything is under control, your boss will be happier if happier to know that things are good. So then the author talks about two basic methods of internal communication. One is the message and the meeting. Here, in this chapter, the author is talking about the meetings. The author says that meetings form the glue that holds your team together. He says that by participating in team meetings, you are allowing excellent information flow in all directions from top to bottom and bottom to top. Also, it helps in social bonding, which makes the team stronger. It helps remind the team members who are present that they are part of the team. One of the keys to a successful meeting is make sure that everyone attends. That is the duty of the leader to force everyone to attend the meeting. It should be a part of everybody's regular schedule. Also, two keys for a successful meeting are an agenda and a leader. So keep the number of items on your agenda to the minimum needed to make sure everyone is up to date with important events, issues, and problems. If you are the leader, make sure you cover the agenda as briskly as possible. Frequent meetings are good, but unnecessary long ones are not. Also, the author talks about learning by walking around, which I also have seen practically. That is very helpful. Some of the most valuable conversations in my experience resulted from random encounters in the corridors, at the cooler, or on the way to lunch, at the firm, or even at the client. The author says don't underestimate the value of a random fact. These random facts that you learn by walking around can be very important. Uh, However, you choose to communicate with your team, make sure that you do so frequently and openly. You will boost your team's efficiency and morale as well as your boss's peace of mind. More the communication, more the efficiency, and more the morale. And that is, see any good company, you will find that this is being done over there. So now the author talks about messages. He talks about three keys to an effective message. He says that a good business message will have three attributes. Those are brevity, thoroughness, and structure. So now, what is an effective message? He says that effective message has the same characteristics and properties as an effective presentation. It should be brief. That is, it should cover only the points that the audience needs to know. It should be thorough. That is, it should cover all the points the audience needs to know, and it should have a structure that conveys these points very clearly. So brevity, he says that it is much more important in spoken communication rather than written communication. Whittle down your message to 3 or 4 points that the audience needs to know. Thoroughness, I think we've been over this a lot of times. Everything should be covered. And structure should also be very clear. So he's just given an example. You can write that we have three problems in order of increasing importance, and then list down the problems. So this is it about what should be there in a message. Then the author goes on to talk about always look over your shoulder. He says you cannot be an effective consultant if you don't maintain confidentiality. So the author was attending a seminar on confidentiality where the EM leading the discussion mentioned that when he stayed over at his girlfriend's apartment, he kept his briefcase locked. It might sound a bit extreme, but that is how McKinseyites are. McKinsey's corporate culture continuously reinforces confidentiality. They always keep it in the back of their minds. Even if they were on a plane, they will not take out client information out of their briefcases and work on it. They will never mention their client's name outside the office, and sometimes not even at the firm, because McKinsey works on a with a lot of companies in the same industry. So sometimes information has to be kept even from fellow consultants. Also, the author says that if you're working on something sensitive, take a few basic precautions. Don't leave important papers lying around. Lock up your desk and file cabinets before you leave for the night. Don't talk about the specifics of your work outside your team, and don't take out any sensitive material in public. Yeah, so this is all the author talks about in this chapter in managing internal communications. I hope this added some value to your day. Please like, share, and subscribe. Keep learning. Have a great day.